We frequently attempt to control everything, worrying about the future, pushing results and straining against the flow of life. But this just makes our brains heavier and our hearts more fatigued. Stoic philosophy does not encourage us to submit or remain inactive. On the contrary, it creates a way that allows us to liberate ourselves of unneeded obligations. When we acknowledge that certain things are beyond our control, we can finally concentrate on what is actually important: our thoughts, actions, and reactions to life. Imagine if a river attempted to oppose its own flow. Would it still be a river? The same goes for us when we let go of our demand for control. We let the cosmos work its magic. Everything follows natural principles. We don't have to push anything, just flow with it. By practicing meditation and comprehending the rules of the world, we may undergo a deep shift in which worry disappears and inner serenity replaces it. In this video, we'll look at 7 Stoic teachings that might help you relax, trust, and allow things to develop spontaneously. Let us go on this trip together. Lesson number 1. Differentiate between what is within your control and what is not. There are times in life when we feel as if we're swimming against a surging torrent, driven away by forces beyond our control. Work relationships. Even unforeseen situations may cause us anxiety as we try to regain control of things that were never ours to command in the first place. But if we take a minute to sit and watch in quiet, we will see that pleasure does not come from controlling everything, but from accepting and concentrating on what we can alter. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, once stated, "Some things are under our control, while others are beyond it." This little phrase highlights one of the fundamental ideas of Stoicism, a philosophy that helps us discover inner calm. If we can discern between what is under our control and what is not, we will stop spending energy on pointless tasks and instead live a lighter, more peaceful existence. Consider the tale of Eliud Kipchoge. In 2019, the best marathon runner in history established a new record by being the first person to finish the 42.195-kilometer race in less than 2 hours. However, many people are unaware that his success was more than simply speed and amazing physical endurance. Kipchoge too had an unshakable attitude. Kipchoge's mental fortitude rendered him practically unbeatable in several races when he encountered bad weather, high gusts, or suboptimal temperatures. Instead of fretting about things beyond his control, he concentrated on his breathing, each step, and everything he had control over. And as a consequence, he triumphed not just on the track, but also in his way of thinking. Kipchoge's experience vividly exemplifies Stoic philosophy. Rather than fretting about things beyond our control, we should concentrate on what we can influence. Worrying about the weather won't stop the rain, and fretting over test results won't ensure better grades, but taking purposeful action will. Practicing, planning, and mastering one's thinking may alter the game. So why do we always fall into the trap of attempting to manage worthless things? People are afraid of uncertainty. We desire assured results and full assurance. However, that is not how life works. If we allow things to overwhelm our brains, we will be unable to change. We're shackling ourselves with unneeded worry. True freedom comes from learning to let go. How might this lesson be used in our everyday lives? When presented with a difficulty, ask yourself, can I change this? If so, what measures can I take? If not, can I modify how I react to it? Accepting that certain things are beyond of our control is the first step toward obtaining ataraxia. Stoic thinkers aimed for inner serenity. This does not imply inactivity or indifference, but rather a deliberate decision to spend energy in the proper places, ourselves, our attitudes, and our actions. This is the secret to live freely and with strength, rather than being pulled down by inescapable hardship. Once you understand this lesson, you will recognize that trusting the flow of the world does not imply being inactive, but rather taking wise, intentional action in the areas over which you do have influence. However, life is more than merely differentiating what we can control. Even with our greatest efforts, things will not always go as planned. When that occurs, how can we keep going ahead without losing hope? The next lesson will provide a new perspective on how Stoic thinkers faced hardship. There is no opposition or complaint, just a peaceful and welcoming heart. If you've ever thought that life is unfair or that you've given your best but still haven't reached your goals, the following lesson will be the key to letting go of those mental baggage. Stay tuned for an exploration of one of Stoicism's most compelling themes. Lesson 2. Accept life as it comes. Life is an ongoing stream of change that does not always go as planned. A beautiful strategy may crumble in an instant like a door. We've long wished for May to end abruptly, and there are occasions when, despite our best efforts, we stumble. But is it really a negative thing, or is that just the way the world works according to its own rules? Stoics do not oppose the course of life. They merged with it. They recognize that fighting truth causes sorrow, whilst embracing it provides liberation. Stoicism had a significant impact on the contemporary philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. I borrowed a tremendous notion from them. Amor fati, meaning love for one's destiny. Aria, fati is more than just accepting fate. It is an active attitude that embraces even the most unwanted circumstances, seeing them as an integral part of the path rather than avoiding them and using them for personal progress. Seneca, one of the best Stoic thinkers, once stated, "Fate guides the willing and pulls the unwilling." This is more than a reminder, it is a guiding philosophy for life. Resisting what occurs just depletes our own vitality. However, if we learn to accept it, we may convert adversity into an opportunity and suffering into strength, and define life on our own terms. Consider a young, ambitious entrepreneur who invests his heart and soul in his first business. He has a great strategy, a clear vision, and unwavering confidence that he will succeed. However, life doesn't always go as planned owing to unanticipated dangers, strategic errors, or just an unresponsive marketplace. All of these variables contribute to a terrible outcome: failure. At first, this failure seems like a straight blow in the face. He is perplexed, troubled, and wonders why all of his efforts have failed. But rather of letting disappointment overtake him, he begins to ponder. He recognizes what he might have done better, the flaws in his reasoning, and he rises again, wiser and more mature, having learned precious lessons only failure can provide. This is not a fictitious tale. It is the true tale of Elon Musk, who failed with his first firm, Zip2, but instead went on to create PayPal, Tesla, and SpaceX. There are plenty additional pioneering technological businesses. If Musk had chosen despair, the world would not have seen the technological breakthroughs he brought about. But he practiced amor fati, transforming failure into fuel for progress. Embracing life does not imply passive acceptance. It's not about resigning or giving up. On the contrary, it is one of the most potent types of control a person may have. The capacity to control how we react to everything. You may not be able to control what occurs to you, but you can always choose how you view and deal with it. A misfortune may be either a calamity or a fresh beginning. It depends on how you choose to see life. Each individual has their own tale, complete with ups and downs, moments of triumph and failure. Instead than blaming destiny, consider the following. Every chapter has a purpose, and when combined, they form your whole tale. Whether you are currently rejecting something, ask yourself whether you can view it differently. If a failure still haunts you, remind yourself, what can this teach me? This is the Stoic mindset, learning to utilize pain for progress rather than avoiding it. And if you're feeling stuck or lost today, write a comment below this video to commit to adopting a good life practice. Lesson number 3. Live in the now. Don't be overly concerned about the future. Are you fatigued from always thinking about the past or worried about the future? Do you lose out on important times because your mind is distracted with regrets and fears? It's time to live in the now. It might be difficult to let go of past errors and concerns about the future. However, it is necessary for a better and more satisfying existence. Stoicism has long taught us a simple yet profound fact. Only the moment really belongs to you. Marcus Aurelius, the great philosopher-emperor, famously observed that you have control over your thinking, not external circumstances. Realize this, and you will gain strength. What exactly does this mean? It indicates that obsessing about the past or the future will not offer you power over your life. On the contrary, it merely makes you a slave to things that are unchangeable or have yet to occur. Assume you're driving along a busy road and your mind is continuously preoccupied with the mistake you made at the last junction, whether there will be an accident ahead or whether you have enough gas to keep going. Or what if an unforeseen event arises? Can you drive safely? Of course not. When you are not concentrating on the road directly in front of you, you might quickly lose control. Life remains the same. You can't live well if you're preoccupied with the past or scared of the future. Marcus Aurelius also wrote in Meditations, "Avoid wasting. What's the point of wasting your life wondering about your neighbors? Unless for mutual advantage," he warns us that everything moves swiftly. The past has become dust. The future remains mysterious. If you continue to pursue both, you will lose. The only thing you actually own is this now. Why do individuals get caught in the past or future? We wish to have control over things that are beyond our grasp. We regret our previous errors and wish we had done things differently, but no amount of thinking about it can alter the outcome. We are concerned about what lies ahead, wondering whether we will succeed, fail, or experience a negative outcome. However, no matter how much we worry, the future is uncertain. Stoics think that we only have one duty: master the present. Concentrate on what we can control while letting go of what is beyond our grasp. Epictetus once stated that happiness and freedom begin with a thorough comprehension of a single idea. Some things are under our control, while others are not. This implies that if you genuinely desire calm, you must learn to focus your concentration only on the moment. But how do you live in the present? Start by exercising observation rather than response. When you have regrets about the past, ask yourself whether this idea would help you alter anything. If not, let go. When you are concerned about the future, ask yourself, what can I do now to best prepare? If there is anything you can do, do it now. If not, let go. True liberation comes from letting go of your fears about the future. When you live in the now, you feel lighter, less anxious, and most importantly, you don't lose out on life. You know that you are fully alive, free of the past and the future. Try something now. Draw a deep breath. Look around. You sense life occurring right now. Nothing is more crucial than this. Life is neither the past nor the future. It's now, and you have a choice: to live completely in the moment or to squander it on things that cannot be altered. The choice is yours. Lesson number 4. Don't let your emotions to rule you. Have you ever spoken anything in anger and then regretted it? Have you ever allowed fear prevent you from taking a risk that may have been really beneficial? If so, you're not alone. Emotions are strong. Your mood influences how you connect with others, how much money you spend, how you approach obstacles, and how you spend your time. Controlling your emotions can help you gain mental strength. Fortunately, everyone can improve their emotional regulation skills just like any other ability. Managing emotions needs practice and attention. Stoic philosophy teaches us not to repress or reject our emotions. It does not expect us to become dispassionate creatures devoid of sorrow, wrath, or fear. Stoicism, on the other hand, emphasizes that although emotions are normal, how we react to them is what actually counts. Epictetus, as one of the great Stoic thinkers, once said, "It's not what happens to you that counts, but how you handle it." You can't control everything in life. There will be events beyond your control, and individuals may insult, betray, or injure you, but you have the ability to respond to them. You have the option of allowing your emotions to burst, exacerbating the issue, or maintaining your cool. Stand steadfast and don't let the emotional storm sweep you away. Assume you are at a crucial meeting. You've worked hard on this project, but now a coworker purposefully minimizes your contributions in front of everyone. Anger surges inside you. You want to answer instantly and defend yourself, but you need to wait for a second. If you respond quickly in anger, are you certain that your comments will assist, or will they just make you look out of control while your colleague accomplishes their goal? Your options are to let anger rule you and harm your own image. Take a deep breath, remain cool, and react confidently and rationally. If you select the second choice, you not only surprise your opponent, but you also show calm and commitment. True powerful individuals do not need to yell to prove their value. A powerful hush, a steady glance, and quiet words are actual indicators of strength. Martin Luther King Jr. was more than just a civil rights warrior. It is also a sign of calm and forbearance in the face of hostility. As the struggle for racial equality in the United States grew in the 1960s, King and his allies were subjected to ongoing discrimination, threats, and physical violence. His home had been bombed. He was detained many times and faced persistent assaults. Nonetheless, he never allowed rage to rule him. He realized that reacting to anger with hatred would only make matters worse. In a famous statement, he said that darkness cannot drive away darkness. That is something that only light can accomplish. Hate cannot drive out hatred. That is something that only love can accomplish. King thought that maintaining calm was the fundamental source of power. He did not allow bad emotions to rule him. Instead, they sought justice with compassion and resolve. There is a simple but profound reality. Controlling your emotions gives you power over your life. This world has many things that might make you furious, nervous, or terrified. However, allowing yourself to respond impulsively to everything can leave you feeling unbalanced. You'll be like a ship floating aimlessly amid wild seas without direction or stability. On the other side, when you learn to monitor your emotions without allowing them to rule you, you gain mastery over yourself. You are no longer a puppet for the circumstances or those who want to provoke you. You stand solid amid the storm, serene and free. So the next time you feel angry, anxious, or fearful, remember that you have a choice. Nobody can compel you to be furious. Nobody can make you terrified unless you let them to. You may choose calm, clarity, and resolve. This is genuine strength. Lesson 5. Pursue simplicity and live a simpler life. Life is seldom straightforward. In truth, most of the time, life is filled with overwhelming and hectic seasons, piled job obligations, complicated relationships, and an unceasing flood of information that makes us feel stuck in a never-ending whirlwind. So how can we survive and strive for a simpler way of life when everything seems to be moving at a rapid, chaotic pace? The solution is in our own decisions. We may choose to let go of what is superfluous, simplify our lives, and find inner peace. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, once stated, "The poor guy is the one who desires more, not the one who has too little." We generally associate prosperity with possessing a larger home, a nice automobile, or a closet full of stylish attire. However, genuine wealth does not come from accumulating. It stems from requiring less. While we are continually chasing new things and seeking more, we never feel fulfilled. At that moment, our own imaginations become like prisons. Always yearning, always worried, never at ease. Look at contemporary life. We are inundated with too many options, knowledge, and stuff we assume we need. Every day, we spend hours on our phones, engrossed in irrelevant news. Scrolling through hundreds of social media postings leaves you feeling empty and fatigued. Each morning we open our closets, look at hundreds of clothing, and yet feel like we have nothing to wear. We enter the kitchen and feel worried, looking at the cluttered pantry shelves. These apparently little issues add to unneeded mental weariness in our everyday lives. Simplicity does not imply giving up everything and live as a hermit. Simplicity is about learning to maintain what is actually important while letting go of what weighs us down. This might begin with minor but significant changes. If social media is taking up too much of your time and distracting you, restrict your phone use. Turn off notifications, put your phone away an hour before bedtime, or find an accountability partner to help you handle this behavior. If you feel worried every time you open your closet because there are too many options, yet nothing seems right, it may be time for a decluttering session. Keep just the clothing that actually fit you and make you feel comfortable, and improve your confidence. If your kitchen has become a source of disarray, begin by simplifying what you keep. Get rid of any unneeded food products. Keep your room neat and create an atmosphere that helps you feel at ease every time you go in. When we start living a simple life, something beautiful occurs. We feel lighter, have more time, and can think more clearly. Suddenly, we are no longer stuck in pointless decisions. Instead, we may concentrate on what is genuinely important: meaningful work, good connections, and unforgettable experiences. Stoic philosophy is not a call to abandon everything, but rather to restore freedom from within. When we are no longer constrained by infinite wants, we learn to live in appreciation and really live in each moment. Finally, consider what in your life actually brings value and what just drags you down. What would you give up today to make your life easier and more peaceful? Please share your opinions in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject. Do you practice the notion of simple living in your own life? If so, how have things altered for you? Please share your ideas below. Lesson 6. Approach all situations from a larger viewpoint. With rapidly evolving projects and activities, it's tempting to get caught up in the action. Viewing things only from your own viewpoint might make them seem bigger and more difficult. But try seeing from a different perspective. Taking a larger, more complete view reveals more details and fresh options to address them. Nothing is too tough if you understand how to locate the appropriate way. This also relates to the obstacles you meet in life. Continue to look for the correct answers, broaden your vision, and the ideal option will automatically emerge. But the question is, are you actually able to perceive challenges from many perspectives? Whatever occurs around us, however chaotic or unfair, is under no responsibility to meet our expectations. We cannot change the world, but we can influence how we view it. If you simply look at an issue from a limited perspective, it will always seem to be a huge barrier. But if you take a step back and look at it from a larger perspective, even from the standpoint of the universe, you'll see that nothing is very serious. Let us chat about Bruno's tale. He is a young artist with a strong creative drive. He spent months working on a huge painting, which he hoped would be the masterpiece that would propel his career to new heights. When the show went place, his artwork received some attention, but not in the manner he had planned. Critics did not like the piece. Some even speculated that he had gone the wrong way. Bruno was heartbroken. He felt as if all of his efforts had been futile and that he had failed. In the days that followed, Bruno witnessed only disappointment. He could not think beyond the scathing critique. He was imprisoned in negativity. But then an old buddy, a more seasoned artist, told him, "Try thinking about this 10 years from now. Do you believe these criticisms will still be relevant?" For the first time, Bruno halted and thought. 10 years from now, he would no longer be a young artist looking for recognition. He would have gotten more experience and produced several things. Would one review of a single show actually define him, or was it simply a blip in a long journey? After looking at it this way, Bruno understood that he had exaggerated the issue by seeing it from an overly limited viewpoint. We often forget a basic reality. We are just a little fraction of this immense cosmos. Daily stress, concerns, and disappointments may seem overpowering in the time, but when seen in context, they are nothing more than tiny waves in an infinite ocean. Imagine yourself gazing down on Earth from space, which is a helpful Stoic exercise. When you do this, you discover that no matter how serious your situation seems, it is really a little occurrence. Consider if this issue will still be relevant in the future. If I were an extraterrestrial gazing down on Earth in 5 years, Would I consider this to be anything worth caring about on a cosmic scale? Is this genuinely significant? Once you can see your issues in a bigger framework, they lose their influence over you. You are no longer a victim to your emotions. You become an observer of them. Seeing challenges from a larger viewpoint does not exclude taking action. Stoicism does not promote passivity. On the contrary, you must act, but not be constrained by expectations and consequences. Marcus Aurelius once stated, "Do the right thing." You've learned to view every problem from a broader perspective. But what if you are still impacted by the outcomes? How can you take decisive action without being disappointed when things don't go as planned? This is the last lesson. Act, but don't become too attached to the result. This will permanently transform the way you approach life. Lesson 7. Take action, but don't become too connected to the outcomes. You're beginning a new project or fitness regimen, and it seems like unexplored land full of unknowns. You mistrust your ability to achieve, and as a consequence, you are stressed out, trying all you can to make things go as planned. Stress, dread, and doubt. All of these feelings derive from connection to the result, or how things will end out. We want to lose weight and be healthier as a consequence of exercise, or we want to thrive in our new endeavor and impress others. But maybe we can recognize that no matter how hard we try, certain things are beyond our control. You may work out hard and yet not attain your target weight. You may spend months preparing a project, but the final product isn't what you imagined. And it's this excessive connection to the goal that produces worry, dissatisfaction, and even failure. Stoic philosophy promotes a distinct worldview. Act fully, but don't let the result define you. Do not expect things to go the way you want them to. Instead, wish that what occurs occurred in the manner it does, and you would be content. Epictetus. Pause and think about this quote. We often want things to go as we anticipate. We want to establish expectations and think that if we put up enough effort, the world will respond to our wishes. However, if we can shift our goal from controlling the result to accepting whatever occurs, we will discover serenity. In other words, pleasure stems not from things going as planned, but from understanding that whatever occurs is a natural part of life. So how do we go about practicing this? Assume you're prepared for a critical presentation. You've spent hours reading, practicing, and preparing, but as you stand in front of the audience, you realize you don't have complete control. Perhaps the sound system fails, or someone in the crowd seems indifferent. Perhaps you accidentally miss a crucial topic, and if you are too tied to the result, wanting everything to be flawless, wanting everyone to be pleased by your presentation, you will get agitated and nervous, and you may even lose your cool. But if you accept that I did my best, and that whatever occurs will happen, you will have a whole different perspective. You will concentrate on living in the now and learning, rather than worrying about a result over which you have no control. This is the distinction between behaving freely and acting in worry. Stoics never suggest that we should not put out effort. They do not tell us to quit or do things half-heartedly. On the contrary, they highlight that we must act with the utmost concentration while not allowing the result to control our emotions and self-esteem. The world's finest athletes do more than merely train hard. They also recognize that triumph does not always occur. A tennis player might practice for months and yet lose a crucial match. An athlete could be in peak shape. However, severe weather might impair their performance. But this doesn't lessen their worth, since they don't define themselves only by the outcome. They realize that triumph is more than simply accomplishing a precise outcome. It is about giving their best without remorse. This is also applicable to your life. If you're beginning a new company, put your everything into it, but don't let failure break you. If you're learning a new talent, enjoy the process rather than focusing on being the greatest. If you want to develop yourself, concentrate on your everyday progress rather than stressing about not meeting a set benchmark. Stoicism argues that genuine freedom comes from self-mastery rather than control over circumstances. When you get too connected to the result, you lose control of your emotions to forces beyond your control. However, by focusing on action and the process, you reclaim control. You are no longer overcome by worry, dread, or disappointment. You're just living, striving, and loving every step of the trip. So the next time you start anything new, whether it's a project, an exercise regimen, or a personal goal, remember to act with passion, but don't let the result define you. Relax, trust yourself, and let the universe do its part to bring things to a close. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the need of relaxing, trusting, and allowing the cosmos to run organically in a life full of uncertainty and hardships. Accepting that we cannot control everything is essential for preserving inner calm. We only have control over how we respond to circumstances, which is crucial to living an anxiety-free existence. When we let go of our problems and believe in the natural movement of the universe, we become much more tranquil and free. So what do you think of the Stoic philosophy? Have you ever utilized these concepts in your own life? Feel free to leave your ideas in the comments below. If you found this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe to continue learning great insights from Stoic philosophy with us. Stay tuned for the next video we've planned for you, and don't miss out on future fascinating stuff. When you live alone, there are no restrictions, interruptions, or limits on your power. When you have too much independence, however, you might develop bad habits, get lonely, and lose sight of your potential. The Stoics believed that self-awareness and discipline are essential for strength. Consider if you are making the best use of your alone time or hindering your development. This video will go over 11 common mistakes that individuals do when they live alone, as well as some advice on how to prevent them. Avoid falling into these traps by remaining stationary. If you want to learn how to master yourself before mastering life, you should subscribe. Okay, then let's get started. Number 1. When you live alone, one of the worst things you can do is not establish a pattern or keep a schedule. At first, the thought of having unlimited independence, waking up whenever you want, creating your own plans on the fly, and going with the flow may seem liberating, but without a framework, that freedom rapidly transforms into a waste of time, a lack of productivity, and even a sense that nothing is worth doing. The Stoics valued self-control and discipline because they understood that true freedom does not come from doing everything you want in the moment. It stems from being in control of your actions and behaviors. No man is free who is not master of himself, observed Epictetus, and developing a pattern is the greatest approach to improve your self-control. If you don't organize your day, time will slip away without your knowledge. When you wake up, you do nothing productive to begin the day. Instead, you spend an hour scrolling through your phone. You keep telling yourself you'll go to work shortly, but something keeps taking your focus away. Before you know it, the day is nearly over, and you're not sure where the time went. This type of drift cannot occur on a timetable. It saves you from having to make unnecessary judgments and organizes your day. Marcus Aurelius often urged himself during meditations to wake up every morning with a plan. He wrote that you can't get out of bed at daybreak. Tell yourself, I need to go to work as a person. What am I supposed to be unhappy about if I do what I was intended to do? He understood that without order and a disciplined start, the mind may quickly grow sluggish, even as Emperor of Rome. Set an alarm at the same time every day to establish a consistent habit. When you live alone, no one will wake you up and remind you to do anything. So remember to stick to your strategy. When you wake up at various times each day, it disrupts your internal clock and causes you to feel fatigued. Setting a consistent wake-up time, on the other hand, educates your body and mind to be stable and energetic. The second step is to create a morning routine with a purpose. Instead of checking your phone first thing in the morning, do something to center yourself, such as meditation, stretching, writing in a journal, or reading something essential. Marcus Aurelius would write remarks every morning to prepare his thoughts for the day. You may do the same thing by putting down your ideas, plans, or simply objectives for what you want to accomplish. Plan your job or daily duties after you've determined what you're going to accomplish in the morning. Seneca once observed, "No wind is good for a man who does not know which port he is sailing to." That is, if you do not have a defined aim, you will be pushed off track by cravings and diversions. Choose the day's most critical task and do it first. This gets things rolling and makes everything else seem simple. Instead of multitasking, focus on serious work by providing projects or activities enough time to complete them without interruption. According to the Stoics, you should be totally present in whatever you do, therefore devote your whole attention to each task and avoid jumping from one to the next. It's not just about work, however. A good regimen also involves balance. Seneca cautioned about the dangers of working too hard and burning out. He remarked that the mind must be relaxed. It will grow stronger and sharper after a nice rest. It is as crucial to schedule breaks as it is to plan duties. Being alone forces you to choose whether to take breaks from work, go for a stroll, stretch, or just relax without feeling awful about it. It is equally vital to practice calming down in the evenings. The morning sets the tone for the day, while the evening sets the tone for how well you sleep. When the day was done, Marcus Aurelius would reflect on what he had accomplished and how he might have done better. Self-examination like this helps you evolve and prevents you from being locked in negative behaviors. When you live with other people, their routines influence your own. But when you live alone, no one can hold you accountable. You don't have someone reminding you to wake up on time, do your tasks, or take care of yourself. This is where many individuals develop undesirable habits, such as staying up late, skipping meals, procrastinating, or isolating themselves. Worse, these behaviors develop so gradually that you don't recognize them until they become usual. The Stoics tell us that observing laws is not a punishment, but rather a method to achieve freedom. A defined routine not only allows you to do more, but it also helps you relax. When you wake up, you know precisely what to do. This removes all worry and uncertainty. You have control over your time, so do not waste it. The most essential thing is to demonstrate that you are in control of your life, not your moods, activities, or the day's events. Pay attention to this. Making a routine that helps you achieve your objectives will not only save you time, but it will also alter your life. Number 2, disregarding personal safety. When no one is present to warn you, it's easy to overlook your own safety. When you live alone, it may not seem necessary to lock your doors or test your smoke alarms, but they are. Marcus Aurelius once stated, "The thing that prevents you from acting moves you toward action. What gets in the way becomes the way." This indicates that you should deal with issues like neglecting your safety, since overcoming them may strengthen your resolve. Make sure your house is secure. Get quality locks. Make sure your house is well lit and have emergency supplies nearby. You can't just pray for safety. You must do something about it. When you live alone, it is your responsibility to ensure your own safety. No one is there to double-check. The door is locked at night. Hear an odd sound outdoors or be warned to proceed with caution. That's why you should be concerned about your personal safety. The Stoics believed that individuals should prepare for the worst so that they could cope with issues calmly and effectively. Seneca said that a man is not scared of the storm if he has previously readied his ship. The same regulation applies in your house. If you prepare, you will not have to live in fear or anxiety. Begin with simple tasks. Make sure that all doors, windows, and the rear entry are securely secured. You could believe that I live in a safe area. Nothing will happen. However, where you reside is not the only factor that determines your safety. It has to do with minimizing chances anyway. Install a security camera or peephole on your front door. A simple camera or video doorbell may prevent people from entering. Keep your apartment doors closed at all times. If you reside in an apartment complex and the front door is closed, it does not imply your unit is secure. Lighting is a vital aspect of defense. A dark home makes it seem that no one is there, making it an easy target. Make sure your location is well lit, particularly the entrances, hallways and walks. Motion sensor lights outside your home might help keep irritating individuals away. Use timers or smart bulbs to keep lights on inside at certain times, making it seem as if someone is there even when you are not. Fire. Another critical safety consideration that is sometimes overlooked is safety. Living alone makes it simple to be thoughtless. You may forget to inspect smoke detectors, leave the stove on, or overload the outlets, but neglecting these tasks might have serious consequences. Make it a practice to periodically examine your carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. Put a fire extinguisher somewhere easily accessible and learn how to use it. Always keep an eye on candles and open flames, and never leave the stove when cooking. Being prepared for an emergency is as vital as avoiding experiencing one. You must be prepared to deal with an emergency, such as a fire or a medical issue. Keep essentials such as a flashlight, batteries, first aid kits, and bottled water in an emergency pack. You should have emergency contact information on your phone, but you should also write it down someplace easily accessible in case you lose or damage it. If you reside in an area prone to natural catastrophes, you should be aware of the hazards and prepare accordingly. Know the best areas in your house and have a strategy for getting out in the event of an emergency. Aside from keeping your house secure, be cautious what you post online. Sharing that you live alone, your location, or real-time updates while you are gone may make you a target. It's simple to post about your life without thinking. The Stoics understood the importance of keeping things secret. Sometimes being silent is safer than disclosing too much information to strangers. Be cautious about who knows your address. Living in terror is not the aim. Living with awareness means living alone, which provides a great deal of freedom. Yet, freedom without responsibility is perilous. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that every crisis is an opportunity to improve. Safety precautions should not be interpreted as fear or additional labor. Instead, they should be seen as a means to prepare and learn to depend on oneself. If your foundation is solid, you will feel safer and more assured in your own home. Number 3. Allowing the home to get cluttered. It's simple to put things aside after a hard day and promise to tidy up tomorrow, but this may soon create a cluttered atmosphere that makes you feel lousy about your mental health. Seneca said that a house is not a location, it's a sensation. How we care for our surroundings influences how we feel while we are in them. Pick up after oneself for a brief period of time each day. It does not have to be a thorough clean. Just be careful to clean up after yourself. If you live alone, your surroundings become more crucial than ever. A tidy house helps you feel better. Your home reflects what's on your mind. Not only does allowing dishes, clothes, and other items to build up clutter your space, but it also harms your mental health. The Stoics understood that disorder in the outer world often led to problems inside. If your surroundings are disorganized, so will your thinking. Seneca's comments remind us that a home is more than 4 walls. It's the mood we create inside it. That environment has a direct impact on our concentration, emotions, and overall wellness. It begins off little. By the end of the week, there will be a full stack of dishes in the sink rather than just one, and a few clothing on a chair will serve as a storage area. You won't notice it until your area seems too large and you keep putting off cleaning. This is why it is critical to do maintenance every day. There is no need to undertake a comprehensive clean every day, but clearing up your area on a regular basis might be beneficial. Every morning, make your bed, and every night, wash your dishes and return everything to their proper places. Don't let the mess build up. A cluttered house might sometimes make you feel stuck. The more things surrounding you, the more difficult it is to think clearly and act. Marcus Aurelius talked extensively on letting go of things that aren't essential and focusing on what is. If you want peace of mind, do less, or rather just what is absolutely necessary, he wrote in Meditations. This also applies to your living place. Eliminating unnecessary items from your house will make it seem more tranquil. If you live alone, no one will clean up after you or hold you accountable. This is why making it a practice to keep things organized is so vital. Rather than waiting for things to get out of hand, create a simple cleaning regimen. Every day, spend 5 to 10 minutes cleaning up after yourself. Plan to undertake a thorough cleaning once a week. This implies you should dust, clean surfaces, and dispose of waste. Making tiny, frequent alterations might help avoid your space from becoming too large. Your house should not just be clean, it should also be somewhere that makes you happy. Look around and ask yourself if my surroundings make me feel peaceful or agitated. If your surroundings are busy, unorganized, or disregarded, your vitality will slowly drain away. However, if it is clean, well kept, and filled with items that make you feel at ease, it may be an excellent location to relax and focus. The Stoics believed that life should be uncomplicated, not only in how they approached things. Having fewer possessions and taking excellent care of the ones you do have promotes a feeling of order and thankfulness. When everything is in its proper position, it is easier to think clearly. You can focus on what's essential without becoming sidetracked. There is no need to be proud of how your living space appears. Take pride in the way it makes you feel. You must be self-disciplined to live alone, and keeping your environment tidy is a daily reminder that you are in control of your own life. Number 4. Avoiding social encounters. When you live alone, it's easy to isolate yourself. Yet staying alone for an extended period of time may be detrimental to your mental health. Despite their emphasis on inner serenity, the Stoics understood the importance of society. Epictetus, an ancient Greek philosopher, said that humans were formed to collaborate, much like feet, hands, and eyes. It's crucial to keep in contact, even if you're not around others. Do not lose contact with your buddies. You may phone or message friends, relatives, or even someone you just met to let them know you're thinking about them. Keeping in contact with others helps you stay steady and connected to the world beyond your four walls. When you live alone, it's easy to convince yourself that being alone is simply the way things are. At beginning, it may even feel pleasant to have your own space and not have to share with anybody else. However, if you are not cautious, that serenity and quiet might gradually evolve into loneliness. The Stoics believed in self-sufficiency, yet they never advocated isolation from others. Epictetus' theories suggest that humans are designed to engage with one another and be a part of something larger than themselves. Even if you are self-sufficient, you need strong bonds to keep your thoughts and emotions in order. If you avoid social encounters, you may not realize the consequences immediately away, which is problematic. You could feel okay for the first several days. After a week, you realize you haven't spoken to anybody save for a brief SMS. Your world begins to shrink very rapidly. When you spend too much time alone, communicating to other people becomes a chore rather than something you like. You start telling yourself that you want to be alone all the time, while the fact is that you've just stopped interacting with other people. Marcus Aurelius stated that humans were designed to collaborate. Even though he was the monarch and had a lot of responsibilities, he understood the importance of connecting with others. Stoics understood that relationships such as friendships, familial ties, and even casual conversations keep us engaged in life. They help us view things differently, make us think, and remind us that we are part of a larger universe. If you draw away too much, your mind begins to concentrate on yourself, and your thoughts might spiral out of control. Small difficulties become more difficult to cope with when you lack the necessary assistance from others. To prevent loneliness, make it a priority to spend time with other people. You don't have to be the nicest person in the room or push yourself to attend large gatherings, but you should strive to remain in contact to keep those ties intact. All you need is a short phone call, text, or conversation with a neighbor, friend, or family member. Make time for social activities, even if they are as simple as going for coffee with a buddy or joining a local organization of individuals who share your interests. When in-person meetings are not always possible, take use of technology. Video conversations, online organizations, and even social media may help individuals interact with one another. Having people around you who inspire and motivate you is another crucial aspect of social well-being. Seneca stated, "Associate with those who will help you become a better man." This implies you should avoid spending time with individuals that bring out your negative characteristics. Welcome those who can assist you in becoming healthier. Think carefully about the relationships you maintain. What counts is how well you get along with the people in your life, not how many of them there are. It's time for the individuals who make you happy, encourage you to develop, and help you understand the broader picture. Finally, bear in mind that socializing is more than simply receiving something. It is also about providing something. Being helpful to others is one of the quickest methods to break out of loneliness. Give your time, assist someone when they need it, or just be there for a buddy who is going through a difficult moment. Being active in the world can help you feel more connected. Even while it might be beneficial to live alone, you should never isolate yourself from others. Connecting with others is what keeps our intellect active, our emotions under control, and our spirits full. Even if being alone seems to be a nice thing, don't allow it to become a trap. Stay in contact, reach out, and remember that life is intended to be shared. Number 5. Ignoring your money. When you live alone, managing your finances becomes even more critical. It's easy to let things go when you don't have anybody else to rely on. Stoics believed that individuals should live in moderation, avoid excess, and concentrate on what is essential. According to Seneca, wealth is having few desires rather than many goods. Keep track of your expenses, create a budget, and put away some money each month. Make careful to pay your payments on time and avoid spending money you don't need. Being careful with your money will make you feel in control of your life, not just your finances. It all relies on how you manage your money, whether it brings you freedom or worry. Nobody can aid you financially if you get ill or injured while living alone. Not even a neighbor or family member. You must pay all invoices, make financial choices, and cover all costs. Still, many individuals do not manage their money well, either by overspending, failing to plan ahead, or ignoring potential hazards. The Stoics believed in independence, moderation, and being prepared for everything. These are all vital considerations while managing money. Seneca's insightful comments remind us that true riches comes from desiring less rather than possessing more. When you let go of non-essential desires and concentrate on what is important, you regain control of your finances. If you live alone, you may become more disciplined in this area, but only if you really commit to it. Start by keeping track of your expenses. Sometimes individuals don't realize how much money they're wasting until they see it. Everyday expenses such as coffee takeaway and membership fees may mount up quickly. Whether it be a notepad, a budgeting software, or something else, create an approach that works for you. Being alert is essential. It is difficult to manage your money properly. If you're not sure where your money is going, set a budget and stick to it. The Stoic advised us to only worry about what we can control. You can't influence unexpected market expenditures or crises, but you can control how much you spend and save while maintaining your goals and necessities. Separate expenses for rent, power, and food are essential. Expensive lunches, last-minute purchases, and high-end items, nope, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't have fun. Being responsible today can help you avoid financial troubles later. One of the most serious mistakes individuals make while living alone is failing to save for an emergency. Life is difficult to plan for. You may lose your job, your vehicle could break down, or you could be forced to pay medical expenditures unexpectedly. The Stoics excelled in pre-med malorum, which means identifying issues before they occur. If you don't have a backup plan and rely only on your wage, one unforeseen expense might completely disrupt your life. Try to save enough money to cover 3 to 6 months' worth of expenses in a separate account that you don't access until absolutely necessary. Pay your bills. Missing deadlines may seem to be a simple task, but many individuals do it, resulting in late fines, increased interest rates, and more stress. The idea is to avoid getting behind, so set up automated payments or take notes to help you keep on track. Taking proper care of your money ensures that your future is secure. Finally, do not allow your living expenses to increase. Although you may get a raise or have additional money, this does not imply you should spend it. Many individuals make the mistake of improving their life every time they get more money by purchasing a nicer apartment, clothing, and food. However, the only way to be really financially secure is to live within your means and avoid overspending to maintain appearances. Nuance Rufus, a Stoic instructor, advised his pupils to live a modest life and focus on what is essential. He understood that being responsible with his money meant more than simply money. It was also about freedom. When you manage your money, you avoid getting into debt, worrying about your payments, and always wanting more. You may now live a meaningful life without worrying about money. Money should not control your life. It should be utilized to benefit you. Take responsibility, develop a strategy, and live the Stoic path of financial independence. Number 6. Disregarding mental health. When you live alone, you become your own buddy. When you don't have someone living with you to keep an eye on you, it's easy to neglect about your mental health. The Stoics emphasized the need of caring for both the body and the intellect. Marcus Aurelius once observed, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." Take good care of your mental wellness. Take some time to reflect, relax, and pay attention to your feelings. If you need assistance, ask for it. Taking care of your mental health is an essential component of living a fulfilling life. Living alone might provide a lot of independence, but it also means that you are alone responsible for your own mental health. When no one is around to check in on you or provide consolation, it's easy to lose sight of your mental health. This is particularly true if you get preoccupied with the demands and responsibilities of everyday life. The Stoics, on the other hand, understood the importance of achieving inner tranquility. They focused not only on mental control, but also on physical discipline. Marcus Aurelius wisely said in Meditations that the quality of your ideas determines your pleasure. When you're alone, negative ideas might arise. Anxiety, self-doubt, loneliness, and even wrath may become overwhelming. The Stoics advised us to be in control of our emotions and ideas. They believed that although we cannot always affect what occurs to us, we can control how we respond to it. When you live alone, it is even more vital to pay attention to your mental health, consider your thoughts, and set aside time each day. Spend a few minutes writing or meditating in the morning. Write down all of your concerns, stress, and negative thoughts. Writing down your ideas not only clears your mind, but it also allows you to view things in a broader context. The Stoics were notorious for negative vision, which meant they imagined the worst-case scenario to help them grasp their present problems in a larger context. You may teach your mind to embrace obstacles rather than fear them by doing this. Meditation and mindfulness may help you remain grounded and focused, while also allowing you to reflect on things. The Stoics learned to live in the present moment, focusing on what they could control and letting go of what they couldn't. When you live alone, it's easy for your thoughts to spiral out of control, but mindfulness may help you remain present and avoid obsessing about little matters. Furthermore, it is important to seek assistance when necessary. The Stoics believed in independence, but they also recognized that weakness may lead to strength. Epictetus and other Stoic masters advised us not to be hesitant to seek for assistance when we needed it. You don't have to accomplish everything by yourself. If you are experiencing emotional or mental issues, please do not be reluctant to seek assistance from friends, family, or specialists. Human interactions have a significant role in mental health. You may do this by going to therapy, joining a support group, or just speaking with someone you trust. Finally, be sure you establish limitations for your mental health. It's wonderful to be able to schedule your own time when you live alone. However, if you do not establish clear boundaries, job, worry, or other people's demands might consume your time. The Stoics believed that you should prioritize what is essential and eliminate what is not. Use your time wisely. Set aside time to rest, relax, and engage in mind-enhancing activities. Allow yourself the flexibility to say no when you're feeling overwhelmed. Your mental wellness is much more essential than always striving to fulfill or please the expectations of others. You should care for your mind just as much as your body. You may overcome the difficulties of living alone and live a life of inner serenity and emotional stability. If you practice daily contemplation, you will become more conscious, ask for assistance when needed, and establish mental boundaries. The Stoics believe that our pleasure is determined by how we manage our ideas, not by what occurs around us. If you keep your thinking in control, your life will follow. Number 7. Failing to have a backup plan for emergencies. Things will go wrong, and living alone makes it even more crucial to have one. The Stoics believed in being prepared for the worst and being calm in the face of adversity. The virtuous man is prepared for whatever. Seneca wrote. Spend some time understanding how to handle an emergency. Learn what to do in the event of a power outage, a medical emergency, or any other unexpected situation. When things go wrong, it's better to be prepared than not knowing what to do. Emergency situations may arise at any moment, and if you live alone, you are accountable for all of them. Even whether it's only an unanticipated health worry, power outage, or anything else, not having a backup support system might make matters much worse. The Stoics understood the need of being prepared, not only to avoid ill luck, but also to deal with it calmly. When it happened, Seneca said it. Well, a good guy is prepared for anything. When you live alone, you must be prepared for the worst and maintain your composure when things go wrong. You may avoid being caught off guard by planning ahead of time. The Stoics were strong not because they never had troubles, but because they accepted them as natural components of life. They taught us that being mentally and physically prepared allows us to deal with life's challenges calmly and easily. Start with understanding what to do in the event of an emergency. What do you plan to do if the power goes out? Is there a fire, or has someone been hurt? Do you have a first aid kit, a flashlight, and a strategy for communicating with emergency services? Knowing what to do in the event of an emergency may make all the difference, even if you are not anticipating one. Keep crucial emergency numbers written down and easily accessible, and constantly charge your phone, even if you're simply hanging out at home. If you have long-term health concerns or need drugs, you should maintain an updated list of what you need as well as a list of your healthcare providers. Prepare an emergency kit that includes water, non-perishable food, a first aid kit, batteries, and any medications you may need. This equipment should be placed someplace easily accessible in case of an emergency. Stoics advised us to prepare for adversity, not out of fear, but because it was prudent. Prepare for issues ahead of time so that you can deal with them without worry. Even if you live alone, having a reliable group of people is a crucial aspect of disaster preparedness. The Stoics understood that life is about balance, which involves being able to rely on oneself while still collaborating with others in the event of an emergency. Make a list of people you can call, such as friends, family, and colleagues. You should be able to maintain your independence while yet knowing that you may seek assistance if necessary. The Stoic concept of sympathy holds that all living things are interconnected. Do not shut yourself off from everyone. Keep in contact with individuals who can assist you throughout difficult times and have someone to depend on. Make sure your living place is secure and functional. Check your smoke detectors, carbon monoxide monitors, and fire extinguishers. Small procedures like these may often help you discover potential hazards early on and provide you peace of mind that you are prepared in the event of an emergency. Finally, keep your thoughts prepared. The Stoics taught us that what upsets us is not the incident itself, but how we think about it. You cannot stop issues from occurring. However, you may select what to do when they adopt a peaceful, accepting, and problem-solving mindset. When something unexpected occurs, don't panic. Instead, consider what you can do right now to address the issue thought for the day. What counts is not what happens to you, but how you handle it. When you live alone, you are solely responsible for your health and safety. You can handle any unforeseen scenario with confidence. If you prepare for difficulties ahead of time, you'll be certain that you've taken the appropriate actions to address them. Getting ready is more than simply keeping safe. It's also about keeping in control, being cool, and behaving intelligently, as the Stoics advise. Number 8. Being too strict with your routine. It's necessary to have a plan, but don't let it become so strict that you can't appreciate being spontaneous. Life is unpredictable, therefore being adaptable is essential. The Stoics taught us that although we cannot alter everything, we can modify how we respond. Some individuals feel that how you handle a situation is more important than what occurs to you. Make space in your calendar for things that may not go as expected. When life changes, whether it's a buddy dropping by unexpectedly or a surprising opportunity arises, be prepared to adjust and roll with it. You don't have to constantly stick to your strategy in life. What's important is how you cope with the challenges that come with living alone. Routines are vital because they provide order, consistency, and a purpose for living. However, one of the worst things you can do is follow to your plan so closely that you miss out on the unexpected aspects of life. If the Stoics taught us anything, it is that we have the ability to choose how we react to events in our lives. It's not what happens to you that counts, but how you handle it. This wise man observed, if you plan every minute of your day and allow no space for variation, you may get agitated or anxious if something unexpected occurs. It seems wonderful to make rigid plans, but life is unexpected, and one of the benefits of living alone is that you have the freedom to adjust. You do not need to be in control of every aspect of your time. You just need to be able to manage change with love. Allow yourself some flexibility in your routine. This does not imply giving up all order. Instead, consider your plan a guide, not a jail. You should set aside time for crucial tasks, but you should also leave some voids so that life might unfold naturally. Perhaps an unanticipated buddy calls to meet up, or you are given with an opportunity that might be enjoyable or useful if your plan is rigorous and cannot be altered. You can lose out on the opportunities to rejuvenate, enjoy life, and develop. Seneca once remarked, "It is not that we have a short life, but that we waste it." So this is the primary distinction between having an orderly but flexible life and having a strict existence that leaves little opportunity for enjoyment or new experiences. When we let go of our plans and embrace the unexpected, we may experience some of life's finest moments. Adding this type of flexibility into your life might also help you avoid burnout. If you have too many plans, you may feel like you are always on the go, and you will be unable to relax or completely appreciate the present moment. A flexible schedule, on the other hand, allows you to breathe, modify, and strike the ideal balance between work and leisure. It clears your thoughts, allowing you to remain calm when things do not go as planned, such as when your to-do list is pushed back or your circumstances change. The Stoics viewed unpredictability positively. They considered it a vital element of life. We may have more rewarding experiences if we let go of the impulse to control everything. It isn't about constantly having a good day. It is about how we react with the negative events that occur. Allow yourself some freedom during the day. Do not allow your plan control your life. Allow it to dominate your life. Flexibility may help you live a more complete and balanced life. For example, you may enjoy an accidental conversation, take a stroll in great weather, or just spend a few hours doing something unexpected. The Stoics understood that you couldn't always get your way. You need to learn to accept things as they are. Number 9. Failing to establish personal limits. When you live alone, the distinctions between work and leisure might get blurred. Because you work from home, you may be on call or responding to emails at any times. Setting limitations was very essential to the Stoics, particularly when it came to themselves. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be strict with yourself, but easy on others." Make your limitations obvious. Decide when to stop working and start having fun. Don't allow other people's needs consume your own time. Make space for yourself to heal and maintain your tranquility. Living alone provides a great deal of independence, but it may be difficult to manage your own time and space. People often make mistakes when they do not establish clear boundaries, particularly when attempting to strike a balance between work and play. Some individuals let their personal lives to interfere with their professional lives. This might happen if they work from home or are always available for calls and emails. If you do not establish boundaries, the borders between the two might get blurred, leaving you psychologically and physically exhausted. The Stoic emphasized the need of setting boundaries with both others and oneself. Marcus Aurelius stated that, "Be firm with yourself, yet lenient on others." Setting limits is more than just telling them no. It is also about telling yourself, yes. People who live alone are solely responsible for establishing and adhering to such regulations. You must manage your time and energy well so that job, family, and social commitments do not interfere with your personal life. Draw a clean boundary around your work. Work may easily take precedence over personal time. When you work from home, you may work late at night or believe that you must be available at all times in case someone needs your assistance. Marcus Aurelius would teach us, however, that we are in control of what we do. Set an end time for your project ahead of time and adhere to it. Set a mental or physical alarm that will sound when it is time to cease working. For example, you may switch off your computer, shut your office door, or go for a stroll to signal the transition from work to rest. Setting clear boundaries between work and personal time can help you avoid stress and allow your mind to rest. When living alone, make sure your leisure time is secure. Other people's wants might easily take precedence over your own. You may feel obligated to assist your friends, family, or colleagues at all times, but your time is important and should be handled with respect. You may need to take a break or say no to someone. Do not feel horrible about it. Setting boundaries with others is essential, but so is setting limits with oneself. The Stoics believed that the only way to be completely self-disciplined was to understand and respect one's limits. Setting aside time to rest and care for yourself is one method to do this. It's important to regard this time as seriously as work or other duties. Schedule time to unwind and refresh. Take a stroll in the woods, read a book, or do nothing at all. This is vital for your health. If you continue to devote all of your time to others, you will lack the energy and mental concentration to show up for yourself or anybody else. Last but not least, recognize that limits apply to your thoughts. Don't allow concern or negative ideas into your head without first checking them out like you would with your time. Set boundaries for your ideas to help you maintain mental discipline. Determine when your thoughts are spinning in circles or when you are preoccupied with trivial matters. Learn the Stoic technique of letting go. You should manage your thinking just as much as you control your strategy. When you live alone, you may set your own rules for your life, but you must be cautious and intentional about how you utilize that freedom. Create rules for your time and yourself. You should know when to work, when to unwind, and when to prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. Marcus Aurelius advised to be stern with oneself. Make your life one that respects your desires and keeps you calm. Boundaries are not barriers. They prevent you from leading a life that is out of balance, fulfilling, and true to your values. Number 10. Not taking care of your health. When you live alone, it's tempting to overlook your health, such as skipping exercises or not getting enough sleep. Good health is essential for all aspects of your life. Though the Stoics believed that humans should be powerful in all ways, Epictetus said that no man is free until he is master of himself. Regular exercise, nutritious diet, and enough sleep should all be high goals. You spend your life in your body, therefore take excellent care of it. When you live alone, you may not take enough care of your health. It's easy to forget to exercise, eat right, and take care of yourself when no one is there to remind you you're not working out. Eat whatever is convenient and fast, or stay up late scrolling through your phone. The reality is, however, that your health is what connects everything else in your life. Nothing will flourish without it. The Stoics understood the importance of being mentally and physically robust. Hippocrates once remarked that no man is free until he is master of himself. If you want to dominate yourself, you must take care of both your body and mind. You are solely responsible for your health. When you live alone, make time to exercise every day. This does not need you to become a gym rat, but you should exercise your body often to maintain your energy, strength, and mental sharpness. Find an activity you like and incorporate it into your daily routine. It may be a daily stroll, a morning stretch session, or a visit to the gym. According to Stoic philosophy, discipline leads to freedom. This holds true for your health as well as your professional and personal lives. Healthful foods. When you're alone and don't want to cook, quick food or leftovers are convenient options. That being said, what you eat directly affects your health, vitality, and happiness. To follow the Stoic concept of humility, try to eat in a manner that provides energy without causing you to overeat. You may either prepare your meals ahead of time or have nutritious foods on hand. Eating healthy is more than simply a means to keep your body functioning. It also indicates self-care. You'll prove yourself that you're worth the effort. If you pick healthier meals, prioritize sleep. It's easy to get sidetracked or occupied late at night, whether for business, entertainment, or other reasons. Even so, sleep is the finest thing you can do for yourself. The Stoics understood that enough rest was beneficial to both the intellect and the body. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the need of getting adequate rest to be clear and focused. During sleep, your body repairs, creates new cells, and gains energy. Aim for a regular sleep schedule. Establish a calming evening ritual and refrain from using devices or engaging in stressful activities the following day. Your body and mind will be thankful. Last but not least, keep in mind that your body is the conduit through which you see life. If you do not take care of the things that are most important to you, you will be unable to appreciate them. Living alone may allow you more freedom, but you are the only one who can ensure your own health and safety. Pay attention to your health and provide your body the love and care it needs. This will help you establish a solid foundation for your life that will support your career, relationships, personal development, and enjoyment. The Stoics believed that inner strength was crucial. You should do the same with your physique. Learn to regulate yourself both within and externally. Number 11. Failing to enjoy your victories. When you live alone, there is no one to share your minor victories with. Yet the Stoics taught us that celebrating our accomplishments is a vital aspect of living a healthy life. Marcus Aurelius believed that the quality of your ideas determined your pleasure in life. Take a minute to appreciate what you've accomplished, no matter how tiny. Recognize your progress. Whenever you complete a task, whether it is a job, a project, or just getting through a difficult day, you should cherish your journey and be proud of the effort you put forward. People who live alone might not always have someone to cheer them on. Celebrate their victories or take note of the little things they accomplish well during the day. It's easy to lose sight of your personal accomplishments because you may believe it's insignificant if no one else acknowledges it. However, the Stoics believe that one crucial aspect of living a healthy life is celebrating our accomplishments, no matter how minor they are. Someone wise once remarked that the quality of your ideas determines how happy you are in life. The power of our ideas comes in the fact that we may choose to be happy by acknowledging our accomplishments toward our objectives. When you've finished something, treat yourself to something lovely. Celebrate your efforts. Whether it's finishing a task you've put off, completing a project you've been working on, or just getting through a difficult day, you don't need a large show or accolades from others to appreciate your accomplishments. The Stoics believed that acknowledging these victories, no matter how little, is a wonderful approach to become more appreciative and develop your inner strength. Consider how much effort you put into each activity in a world that prioritizes the destination above the journey. It's easy to lose sight of the effort that goes into achieving that objective. The Stoics believed that your actual worth was determined by how hard you worked to achieve your objectives, not only how well you perform. You educate your mind to concentrate on what you can control: your actions, attitude, and strength by enjoying the process. This provides you a feeling of inner fulfillment that is not dependent on the favor of others. It is neither selfish or self-indulgent to enjoy your achievements. It's a method to appreciate your accomplishments and hard work. It demonstrates that you have matured and are devoted to living a purposeful life. Take a time to consider your journey. Now that you live alone, don't wait for others to validate your progress. Confirm it yourself. Don't forget that this is your journey, so enjoy every step you make. No matter how large or tiny, it reflects the kind of person you are, your discipline, and your dedication to living a decent life. Even if no one is around to compliment you on your job, take pride in it. The Stoics believed that the only way to be really happy was to achieve inner peace and be proud of one's own actions regardless of what was going on around them. That is why you should be proud of yourself the next time you complete a task. No matter how large or little, congratulate yourself for your efforts. Consider how far you've come and enjoy the journey. Really, the choices and actions you make in life manifest in your life by enjoying your victories. You are supporting the Stoic notion that pleasure stems from how you choose to see and appreciate your own existence, not based on what others say about you. To live with purpose, you must first identify your guiding ideals. What's most important to you? Is there integrity, compassion, family? These principles serve as a compass to guide you through life's problems and choices. Assume you're considering whether to take on a large project at work. It provides status and a wage increase, but it also entails giving up time with your family. If one of your primary values is family, the choice is obvious. Stoicism encourages us to emphasize what resonates with our deeper sense of ourselves above temporary pleasures. Take some time today to jot down the 3 to 5 values that are most important to you. Keep this list visible on your desk, the refrigerator, or your phone. When presented with a difficult choice, ask yourself, does this align with my values? You'll find it simpler to make decisions that feel good. Values are essential, but they are meaningless without action. The Stoics taught us that virtue is defined by what we do rather than what we think. Seneca tells us that every new beginning stems from the end of an earlier beginning. Every day is an opportunity to embody your ideals in modest, important ways. Let's assume one of your core beliefs is compassion. That may include assisting a neighbor with groceries, being patient with a pressured colleague, or just listening when a buddy wants to speak. These activities do not have to be spectacular, they just need to be consistent. At the conclusion of each day, reflect on one action that exemplified your principles. Did you exemplify compassion, honesty, or courage? These simple efforts taken over time will contribute to a purposeful existence. Living with purpose does not imply that life will be simple. In reality, the Stoics taught us that trials are necessary. They mold us into stronger, smarter individuals. Marcus Aurelius stated, "The impediment to action promotes action. Whatever is in the way becomes the way." In other words, the challenges you confront might be your most valuable instructors. Think about an instance when things went wrong. Perhaps you had a setback at work or disagreed with a loved one. These situations are easy to regard as bad, but Stoicism reframes them as possibilities. That challenging talk with your spouse taught you how to communicate more effectively. That unsuccessful project drove you to adapt and better. The next time you face a hurdle, ask yourself what you can learn from it. How can this experience help me become stronger? Even in challenging situations, this approach transforms barriers into stepping stones. Another crucial aspect of living with purpose is considering the legacy you will leave behind. Not in terms of celebrity, but in terms of how you have influenced others. What type of example do you want to create for your family, friends, and community? The Stoics thought that a well-lived life should encourage others to pursue virtue. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy." This entails demonstrating people via your actions what it is to live with integrity, bravery, and compassion. Consider the legacy of a mentor or family member who has influenced you. Perhaps it was a grandma who always handled hardship with dignity, or a teacher who believed in you when no one else did. Their acts had a lasting influence on your life. You have the same potential to set an example for someone else. Ask yourself, how do you want to be remembered? Then do one tiny action today to honor that heritage. It might be as easy as sending a word of encouragement to a friend or donating your time to assist someone in need. Before we conclude, let's take a time to reflect on what we've learned today. We've discussed how to spot jealousy and dishonesty in others and keep your peace by sticking to your ideals. We've looked at everyday Stoic activities like morning thought, the duality of control, and cultivating thankfulness, which are all strategies for building resilience and living with purpose. Remember that Stoicism is a way of life, not merely a philosophy. It's about showing up every day as your best self and not just for yourself. However, by living these ideals, you may build a meaningful, strong, and peaceful existence for others around you. Now I'd love to hear from you. What was the most meaningful part of today's video for you? Have you ever experienced issues including jealousy or dishonesty, and how did you address them? Share your tale in the comments section below. Your experiences may inspire someone else viewing this video, and if you found these teachings useful, please like this video and subscribe to our Inner Fortress channel. We're here to discuss Stoic knowledge and help you use it in your everyday life. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to avoid missing our next video, which will go over how to achieve emotional resilience via Stoicism. Until next time, keep strong, Stoic, and remember that your inner castle is impenetrable. To conclude, let me leave you with this notion. The outside is unpredictable, but your internal environment does not have to be. By concentrating on what you can control and living with purpose, you build a solid foundation that no external force can shake. This is the essence of Stoicism. Thank you for joining me on this adventure, and I hope to see you again soon. The way you start your day often sets the tone for all that follows. In Stoicism, the morning is more than simply getting out of bed and starting your day. It's a precious moment to clear your thoughts, establish your objectives, and strengthen your mental armor for the day ahead. Marcus Aurelius started each day by reflecting on the obstacles he could confront. He stated, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself that the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and rude. They behave this way because they are unable to distinguish between good and evil." While this may seem harsh, it is not about anticipating the worst. It is about being intellectually and emotionally prepared to face any challenge with grace and perseverance. Let's imagine you're a parent, and mornings might be hectic as you get the kids ready, dealing with sudden meltdowns and racing out the door. Instead of allowing the turmoil to overwhelm you, spend 5 minutes before starting your day to breathe, think, and remind yourself that you cannot control everything that occurs, but you can control how you react. You'll notice how much more relaxed and concentrated you are. Before you pick up your phone or check your emails, spend a few seconds to ponder about the day ahead. What difficulties might arise? How do you approach them with tolerance and wisdom? Write down one good objective for the day, such as, "I will stay calm under pressure," or "I will listen more and speak less." Finding moments of silence might be difficult in today's fast-paced society. However, Stoicism teaches us that silence is where clarity and power emerge. Seneca observed, "We suffer more in our imaginations than in reality." Often our tension stems not from what is occurring, but from the tales we tell ourselves about it. Taking a minute to halt, breathe, and clear your thoughts may be quite beneficial. It permits you to answer wisely rather than impulsively. Imagine this. You're trapped in traffic and running late for a crucial appointment. Frustration rises and your mind racing with ideas such as, "Why didn't I leave sooner?" Or "I'll seem unprofessional." What if instead of spinning you took a deep breath and told yourself, "This is beyond my control. Stressing will not affect the traffic, but I may choose to be calm." Set up a reminder on your phone or smartwatch to stop for 1 minute every few hours. Use this time to shut your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and center yourself in the present. These moments of quiet will eventually fade away, will help you get through even the busiest days more easily. We discussed how to start the day with clarity, but how you finish it is as crucial. The Stoics believed in evening contemplation as a method to analyze one's acts, learn from one's experiences, and plan for a better tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius would ask himself questions such as, "What did I do well today? What might I have done better? What can I gain from my experiences?" This exercise is not about self-criticism. It's all about development and self-awareness. Imagine you had a difficult talk with a buddy today. Perhaps you uttered something you regretted. Perhaps you handled it with compassion and understanding. Reflecting on that evening's event allows you to learn from it and apply what you've learned to future encounters. Spend 5 minutes writing in a diary before going to bed every night. Make a note of one accomplishment, one area for improvement, and one lesson learned. Over time, this practice will help you become more deliberate in your actions and more in line with your ideals. Gratitude is one of the most powerful strategies to combat negativity, jealousy, and unhappiness. Seneca tells us that we are frequently more afraid than harmed, and that we suffer more in our imaginations than in actuality. Expressing gratitude alters your viewpoint from lack to abundance. Consider a tough day you've experienced lately. Perhaps the workload was unbearable. Alternatively, a family argument left you feeling exhausted. Even on bad days, there is always something to be thankful for. The comfort of a friend, the beauty of a sunset, or just the fact that you made it through the day. Gratitude allows us to notice the tiny moments of delight that we will never forget. That is often masked by stress. Create a gratitude notebook. Every day list 3 things you're thankful for. They don't have to be huge. By doing this on a regular basis, even the tiniest delights may have a significant influence. You'll find it simpler to maintain a cheerful attitude even during difficult circumstances. Let us break it down. You cannot control other people's beliefs, behaviors, or emotions, but you can control your own thoughts, decisions, and responses. You may avoid unneeded stress by concentrating exclusively on what you can control. Consider a family gathering something most of us can relate to. Perhaps there is always one relative who critiques everything. You can't stop them from voicing their minds on anything, even your work and cuisine, but you can choose how you react. Instead of getting into a fight or allowing their insults spoil your day, remember yourself. Their views are their own, not mine. I chose to be calm and enjoy this time with my family. Here's a daily activity to help reinforce this thinking. At the conclusion of each day, write down one scenario that made you irritated or unhappy. Then ask yourself, was this within my control? If it wasn't, then let it go. If it was, consider how you may approach it better next time. This tiny practice may cause a significant difference in how you tackle issues. Gratitude may not seem to be a coping mechanism, yet it is one of the most effective methods to resist jealousy. A negative attitude. Seneca reminds us that the guy who seeks more is impoverished, not the one who has too little. Envy typically stems from a need to compare ourselves to others, believing that we lack what others have. Gratitude flips. Stoicism encourages us to appreciate what we have rather than what we lack. Gratitude keeps you grounded in the present moment and helps you perceive richness where you previously saw shortage. Let's imagine you're going through social media and come across a friend's post about their lavish trip. Instead of feeling jealous, take a moment to concentrate on what you are thankful for. Perhaps it's the comfort of your own house, the support of your family, or the simple pleasures of daily living, such as your morning coffee or a favorite pastime. Gratitude transforms what you have into enough. Every night before bed, jot down 3 things you're thankful for. They don't have to be huge. Small delights also count. Over time, you'll notice how this simple exercise alters your perspective and strengthens your resistance to emotions of jealousy. Building resilience is more than simply inner effort. It's also about creating healthy limits. Stoicism instructs us to value our own serenity. Sometimes it involves safeguarding our time, energy, and relationships. As Seneca stated, associate with people who will help you become a better man. While we can't always pick who we're with, we can choose how much access we allow particular individuals. If you have a friend or coworker that constantly brings negativity into your life, it is okay to establish boundaries. Perhaps it means spending less time with them or respectfully redirecting the discussion away from poisonous issues. It is not about shutting people off. It's about determining where to direct your efforts. Take a time to think on your connections. Consider who inspires you and who drains you. Consider setting one tiny barrier with folks that deplete you this week. It might be as easy as stating, "I am not available to discuss this right now." Finally, let us conclude the day in the Stoic manner with an evening contemplation. Stoicism relies heavily on this technique. It also provides an opportunity to reflect on your actions, learn from your experiences, and plan for a better future. Every evening, Marcus Aurelius would ponder and ask himself, "What did I do well? What might I have done better? What can I learn from today?" It's not about punishing yourself for errors. It's all about development and self-awareness. Imagine you had a rough chat with a colleague today. During your contemplation, you could wonder, if I handled the talk with tolerance and honesty. If not, what should I do differently next time? This kind of introspection helps you remain on track with your beliefs and go ahead. Try it tonight. Spend 5 minutes assessing your day before bedtime. Write down one accomplishment, one area for improvement, and one lesson learned. Over time, this practice will enable you to approach each day with more clarity and purpose. We've looked at practical Stoic methods for resilience, but there's one more piece to the puzzle, linking these practices to your larger mission. Let's discuss how Stoicism may help you live a meaningful and fulfilling life. Let's discuss something important to Stoicism, and purpose is essential for living a meaningful life. Stoicism teaches that living with purpose is not about pursuing fame, money, or honors. It's about making your activities consistent with your own principles and contributing to the larger good. Epictetus said it wonderfully. First, tell yourself who you want to be, and then do what you need to do. Clarity is the first step in defining purpose. Knowing what sort of person you want to be and making decisions that match that vision. The goal is not perfection, but rather growth. To live with purpose, you must first identify your guiding ideals. What's most important to you? Is there integrity, compassion, family? These principles serve as a compass to guide you through life's problems and choices. Assume you're considering whether to take on a large project at work. It provides status and a wage increase, but it also entails giving up time with your family. If one of your primary values is family, the choice is obvious. Stoicism encourages us to prioritize what resonates with our inner sense of ourselves above transitory pleasures. Spend some time today writing down 3 to 5 ideals that are most important to you. Keep this list someplace visible, such as your desk, refrigerator, or phone. When presented with a difficult choice, ask yourself, does this align with my values? You'll find it simpler to make decisions that feel good. Values are essential, but they are meaningless without action. The Stoics taught us that virtue is defined by what we do rather than what we think. Seneca tells us that every new beginning stems from the end of an earlier beginning. Every day is an opportunity to embody your ideals in modest, important ways. Let's assume one of your core beliefs is compassion. That may include assisting a neighbor with groceries, being patient with a pressured colleague, or just listening when a buddy wants to speak. These activities do not have to be spectacular, they just need to be consistent. At the conclusion of each day, reflect on one action that exemplified your principles. Did you exemplify compassion, honesty, or courage? These simple efforts taken over time will contribute to a purposeful existence. Living with purpose does not imply that life will be simple. In reality, the Stoics taught us that trials are necessary. They mold us into stronger, smarter individuals. Marcus Aurelius stated, "The impediment to action promotes action." Whatever is in the way becomes the way. In other words, the challenges you confront might be your most valuable instructors. Think about an instance when things went wrong. Perhaps you had a setback at work or disagreed with a loved one. These times are easy to interpret as negatives, but Stoicism views them as opportunities. That challenging talk with your spouse taught you how to communicate more effectively. That unsuccessful project drove you to adapt and better. The next time you face a hurdle, ask yourself what you can learn from it. How can this experience help me become stronger? Even in stressful situations, this approach will be beneficial. Changes impediments into stepping stones. Another crucial aspect of living with purpose is considering the legacy you will leave behind, not in terms of celebrity, but in terms of the influence you have had on others. What type of example do you want to create for your family, friends, and community? The Stoics thought that a well-lived life should encourage others to pursue virtue. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This entails demonstrating people via your actions what it is to live with integrity, bravery, and compassion. Consider the legacy of a mentor or family member who has influenced you. Perhaps it was a grandma who always handled hardship with dignity, or a teacher who believed in you when no one else did. Their acts had a lasting influence on your life. You have the same potential to set an example for someone else. Ask yourself, how do you want to be remembered? Then do one tiny action today to honor that heritage. It might be as easy as sending a word of encouragement to a friend or donating your time to assist someone in need. Before we conclude, let's take a time to reflect on what we've learned today. We've discussed how to spot jealousy and dishonesty in others and keep your peace by sticking to your ideals. We've looked at everyday Stoic activities like morning thought, the duality of control, and cultivating thankfulness, which are all strategies for building resilience and living with purpose. Remember, Stoicism is more than simply a philosophy. It is a way of life. It is about being your best self every day, not only for yourself, but also for others around you. By adopting these ideas, you may live a life full of purpose, power, and tranquility. Now I'd love to hear from you. What was the most meaningful part of today's video for you? Have you ever experienced issues including jealousy or dishonesty, and how did you address them? Share your tale in the comment section below. Your experiences may inspire someone else viewing this video. And if you found these teachings useful, please like this video and subscribe to our Inner Fortress channel. We're here to discuss Stoic knowledge and help you use it in your everyday life. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to avoid missing our next video, which will go over how to achieve emotional resilience via Stoicism. Until next time, keep strong, Stoic, and remember that your inner castle is impenetrable. To conclude, let me leave you with this notion. The outside is unpredictable, but your internal environment does not have to be. By concentrating on what you can control and living with purpose, you build a solid foundation that no external force can shake. This is the essence of Stoicism. Thank you for joining me on this adventure, and I hope to see you again soon. The way you start your day often sets the tone for all that follows. In Stoicism, the morning is more than simply getting out of bed and starting your day. It's an auspicious moment to prepare your thoughts. Set your objectives and prepare your mental armor for the day ahead. Marcus Aurelius started each day by reflecting on the obstacles he could confront. He stated, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself that the people I'm dealing with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, and dishonest." jealous and hostile. They behave this way because they are unable to distinguish between good and evil. While this may seem harsh, it is not about anticipating the worst. It is about being intellectually and emotionally prepared to face any challenge with grace and perseverance. Assume you're a parent and mornings may be hectic, getting the kids dressed, dealing with unexpected outbursts, and dashing out the door. Instead of allowing the turmoil to overwhelm you, spend 5 minutes before starting your day to breathe, think, and remind yourself that you cannot control everything that occurs, but you can control how you react. You'll notice how much more relaxed and concentrated you are. Before you pick up your phone or check your emails, spend a few seconds to ponder about the day ahead. What obstacles may occur, and how can you face them with patience and wisdom? Write down one good objective for the day, such as, "I will stay calm under pressure," or "I will listen more and speak less." Finding moments of silence might be difficult in today's fast-paced society. However, Stoicism teaches us that silence is where clarity and power emerge. Seneca observed, "We suffer more in our imaginations than in reality." Often, our tension stems from the tales we tell ourselves about what is going on rather than the events themselves. Taking a minute to halt, breathe, and clear your thoughts may be quite beneficial. It permits you to answer wisely rather than impulsively. Imagine this. You're trapped in traffic and running late for a crucial appointment. Frustration rises and your mind racing with ideas such as, "Why didn't I leave sooner?" or "I'll seem unprofessional." What if instead of spinning you took a deep breath and told yourself, "This is beyond my control. Stressing will not affect the traffic, but I may choose to remain cool." Set up a reminder on your phone or smartwatch to stop for 1 minute every few hours. Close your eyes, take several deep breaths, and relax. Over time, you will become more grounded in the present moment. These moments of silence can help you get through even the busiest days more easily. We discussed how to start the day with clarity, but how you finish it is as crucial. The Stoics believed in evening contemplation as a method to examine one's activities. Take notes on what you've done and plan for a brighter future. Marcus Aurelius would ask himself questions such as, "What did I do well today? What might I've done better? What can I gain from my experiences?" This exercise is not about self-criticism. It's all about development and self-awareness. Imagine you had a difficult talk with a buddy today. Perhaps you said something you regret, or you handled the situation with care and empathy. Reflecting on that encounter in the evening allows you to learn from it and apply what you've learned to future interactions before going to bed. Spend 5 minutes writing in your journal. Make a note of one accomplishment and one area for improvement, and one thing you learned. Over time, this practice will help you become more deliberate in your actions and more in line with your ideals. Gratitude is one of the most powerful strategies to combat negativity, jealousy, and unhappiness. Seneca tells us that we are frequently more afraid than harmed, and that we suffer more in our imaginations than in actuality. Focusing on what you are grateful for alters your viewpoint from scarcity to abundance. Consider a tough day you've experienced lately. Perhaps work was too much, or a family quarrel left you feeling exhausted. Even on bad days, there is always something to be thankful for. The comfort of a friend, the beauty of a sunset, or just the fact that you made it through the day. Gratitude allows us to notice the tiny moments of happiness that are often obscured by worry. Create a gratitude notebook. Every day, list 3 things you're thankful for. They don't have to be huge. Sometimes the tiniest delights have the greatest effect. Doing this on a daily basis can help you remain optimistic, even during difficult circumstances. Stoicism is not merely about personal development. It is also about how we communicate with others. The Stoics believed that relationships flourish when they are based on trust, honesty, and mutual respect. As Seneca stated, associate with those who will help you become a better man. Consider your closest connections, whether with a spouse, a friend, or a colleague. Are these interactions based on genuineness, or do they sometimes seem transactional or superficial? Stoicism teaches us to value quality above quantity in relationships. This week, reach out to someone who makes you happy. Tell them you appreciate them. A simple gesture of thankfulness may deepen and enhance your relationship. Conflict is unavoidable in every relationship. However, how we manage it makes all the difference. Epictetus emphasized that what occurs to you is not as important as how you respond to it. Stoicism teaches us to stop, ponder, and answer clearly rather than responding angrily or defensively. Consider a family argument around the holidays, which are intended to be happy but instead cause tension. Instead of increasing the dispute, how about pausing, taking a deep breath, and gently sharing your point of view without judgment? By responding thoughtfully, you set the tone for a more productive discussion. Next time you sense tension growing in a discussion, count to 5 before reacting. Take that stop to think if your remarks will benefit or hurt the situation. This tiny practice may result in more meaningful and harmonious relationships. Not every relationship is intended to endure. Setting boundaries or letting rid of relationships that no longer benefit you might be the greatest approach to safeguard your tranquility. This is not about being angry or resentful. It all boils down to putting your health first. Think about a relationship. This drains your energy. Maybe it's a colleague who is always negative, or a buddy who only contacts you when they need something. Letting go does not imply cutting people off totally. It may include lowering the amount of time and effort you put into the connection. Reflect on your connections and ask yourself if this person lifts you up or brings you down. For people that bring negativity, try creating tiny limits, such as restricting interactions or concentrating on more positive relationships. Integrating these Stoic practices into your everyday life will help you build a foundation of tranquility, resilience, and purpose. Stoicism is more than simply a philosophy. It's a way of living that enables you to overcome obstacles, form genuine relationships, and live with more clarity and strength. Remember that you don't need to be flawless. The objective is to make progress rather than achieve perfection. Take one step today, whether it's practicing quietness, documenting your thoughts, or expressing appreciation, and see how it affects your life over time. Life does not always according to plan. Perhaps it's a squandered chance, a financial setback, or an unanticipated health issue. Whatever the setback, Stoicism tells us that our attitude, not the incident itself, determines the result. Marcus Aurelius taught that you have control over your thoughts, not external circumstances. Realize this, and you will gain strength. Imagine you've been arranging a large family reunion for weeks, and then the weather disrupts your outdoor plans. It's easy to get irritated, but rather than letting it destroy your day, stop and rethink the issue. Could this be a chance to adapt and make new experiences indoors? By concentrating on what you can control, such as your attitude, you may transform a hurdle into an opportunity for connection. When things don't go your way, try this. Pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what's under my control right now? Concentrate on doing one tiny, useful activity. This technique promotes resilience throughout time. Fear and worry are normal aspects of life, but they do not have to rule you. The Stoics thought that many of our concerns arise from contemplating the worst-case situation, which may never occur. Seneca stated, "We suffer more in our imaginations than in reality." Assume you're concerned about an impending presentation at work. Instead of falling into, "What if I mess up?" thoughts, take a stoical attitude. Visualize yourself presenting your message calmly and gracefully, regardless of the hurdles. Focusing on preparedness and presence helps you go from fear to empowerment. Try out a Stoic practice called negative visualization. Spend a few minutes picturing a difficult situation and considering how you would react with strength and calm. This is not about pessimism, it is about being mentally prepared for whatever comes your way. The notion of impermanence is a well-known and important Stoic lesson. Everything in life, whether good and terrible, is fleeting. Accepting this allows us to enjoy the present moment and let go of what no longer serves us. Epictetus once remarked, "Don't demand that things happen the way you want, but wish that they happen the way they do, and you will be fine." This approach enables you to handle life's changes gracefully. Think about a period when you battled to let go. Perhaps it was the termination of a work, a relocation to a different place, or simply a change in a friendship. Accepting impermanence does not imply that you don't care. It signifies you respect what has come before while looking forward to what is ahead. At the conclusion of each day, take a minute to focus on one item that has changed or ended and express thanks for its contribution to your life. This simple workout promotes tranquility and adaptability. Criticism is something we all experience, whether at work, in relationships, or at home, perhaps even from strangers. The Stoics urge us not to take things personally. Marcus Aurelius stated, "If someone can show me that what I believe or do is wrong, I will gladly change because I seek the truth." This approach views criticism as an opportunity for progress rather than a cause of conflict. It also helps us understand when criticism is directed at someone else rather than ourselves. Consider getting a negative remark from a coworker regarding your job. Instead of responding defensively, take a step back and ask yourself whether the criticism is true. If so, how should I improve? By taking criticism with interest rather than resistance, you may improve both your character and your relationships. The next time you get criticism, stop and ask yourself, is this input useful? If so, what can I do about it? If not, may I let it go? This tiny difference in perspective may have a significant impact on how you approach challenging talks. Stoicism is not something you can learn from a single book. It is a lifetime practice. Physical health demands frequent exercise, while mental and emotional resilience takes daily work. According to Seneca, luck is the result of preparation and opportunity. Daily Stoic practices equip you to meet life's possibilities and problems with confidence and clarity. Consider how a regular practice such as cleaning your teeth or going for a morning stroll benefits your health. Stoic activities such as introspection, gratitude, and mindfulness benefit both the mind and soul. Begin small. Choose a Stoic practice such as writing, morning pondering, or meditation. Alternatively, create a negative vision and commit to it for 7 days. Consider how it affects your emotions, choices, and relationships. Another element to maintaining the Stoic mentality is to surround oneself with like-minded people. Seneca taught us to surround ourselves with people who would help us become better men. Connecting with people on the same road, whether they are friends, family members, or members of an online community, helps you keep responsible and encouraged. Consider discussing Stoic concepts with a close friend or joining a group dedicated to personal development. These connections not only increase your awareness, but also serve as a reminder that you are not alone in your search for a meaningful existence. Consider joining a Stoic discussion group, whether local or online. Share your ideas, learn from others, and develop together. If it seems like a large step, begin by talking about Stoic views with a friend or loved one. Finally, remember that Stoicism isn't about perfection. It's about development. Every day is a chance to develop, learn, and live more consciously. Even little measures might build up to significant improvements over time. Marcus Aurelius urges us, do not be discouraged if you fail repeatedly. You must be satisfied even if the improvement is little. You should never despair. This isn't about where to start, it's about where you're going. Consider a moment when you struggled to maintain a habit, such as exercising or eating healthily. What genuinely counted were the days when you persevered in the face of disappointments. The same goes for Stoic practices. It is the consistency that matters. Celebrate your progress at the conclusion of each week. Consider one item you've improved, no matter how tiny. This habit helps you stay motivated and reminds you of how far you've gone. As we conclude, let us take a time to contemplate. Stoicism is more than simply a philosophy. It is a way of life that prepares you to meet life's problems with resilience, clarity, and purpose. Whether coping with setbacks, accepting impermanence, or reacting to criticism, the techniques we've discussed today are skills you can use every day. Remember that this path is not about perfection. It's about showing up, learning, and developing a little bit every day. By implementing these teachings, you are constructing an inner fortress that nothing outside can shake. I would love to hear from you. What Stoic practice are you eager to try? Share your opinions in the comments section below, and if this video spoke to you, remember to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may find it useful. Together, we can share Stoic knowledge far and wide. Until next time, keep strong, stoic, and remember that your inner castle is impenetrable. Every choice you make is a fight between two forces, passion and rationality. One is impulsive, motivated by fear, excitement, and instant pleasure. The other is measured, focused on long-term implications and grounded in logic. Most individuals feel they are logical thinkers who make sound decisions based on thorough study. However, emotions often drive behaviors before reasoning can interfere. The untrained mind tends to what feels correct rather than what is right. This is why individuals stop working out after a terrible day, spend money they don't have for a momentary sensation of comfort, or avoid uncomfortable talks out of dread of pain. It is why procrastination takes control when a task seems too difficult, even when logic understands that postponing would only make matters worse. The emotional mind responds in the now, but the rational mind thinks afterward. However, in the absence of discipline, emotion triumphs because it speaks loudest. Marcus Aurelius was intimately familiar with this conflict. He often wrote on the need of separating thinking and emotion in order to guarantee that behavior was guided by reason rather than instinct. He reminded himself that just because something seems urgent doesn't mean it's essential, and just because something seems tough doesn't mean it should be ignored. He schooled his mind to stop before acting, questioning if a response was based on clarity or a fleeting emotional condition. This capacity to calm down and confront knee-jerk reactions, it was the basis for his self-mastery. Seneca's insights on human conduct revealed how often individuals allow emotions to cloud their judgment. He saw how anger leads to terrible remarks, enthusiasm leads to overcommitment, and fear leads to lost possibilities. He thought that genuine knowledge comes from identifying these patterns and teaching oneself to halt before acting. He recommended a simple yet effective exercise for when emotions increase. Delay action. Allowing time for rationality to take control is not the same as dismissing emotions. Before making a choice, Epictetus adopted a more direct approach, emphasizing that individuals dominated by emotion are not genuinely free. He recognized that a person who loses control of their feelings, erupts in fury, gives in to every instinct, and allows fear to dictate their decisions is a slave to their emotions. He defined freedom as the power to rule oneself rather than external conditions. He instructed his pupils to examine their ideas objectively, to distance themselves from their own feelings and examine them as if they were observing someone else. Why do I feel this way? Is this response helping me? What would I tell a buddy to do in this situation? These questions generate space. Allow for reasoning to arrive before passion takes control. Modern psychology reflects these old concepts. According to research on cognitive biases, individuals constantly overestimate the relevance of emotions in decision-making. The hot-cold empathy divide explains why people who are calm often make different decisions than those who are emotional. When the mind is stressed or excited, it narrows its attention and prioritizes instant alleviation above long-term profit. This is why emotional choices may seem right in the time but cause regret later. So how can one restore control? The solution is purposeful attentiveness. Pause before acting. When emotions are high, wait for rationality to speak before making a choice. Train your brain to concentrate on the long-term implications. Will this matter a week from now? Create mechanisms that overrule impulse a year from today. If reasoning says you should exercise, but your emotions desire to be comfortable, there is no need for dispute. Set the gym closeout for the night prior and make the first step automated. The Stoics didn't believe in repressing emotions. They felt they could master it. Marcus Aurelius educated himself to act on principles rather than transitory feelings. Seneca examined his emotions before responding, ensuring that his actions benefited his future rather than merely his present. Epictetus realized that ultimate power is not in dominating the environment, but in managing oneself. The mind will constantly speak in two voices. One is motivated by ephemeral emotions, the other by reason. The issue is, who do you let to make your decisions? The risk of huge goals, why they seem hard to attain. Ambition drives development, but when a goal appears too big, too far away, or too daunting, the mind resists. The larger the vision, the greater the weight of expectations. A person looks at their ambition, a job shift, publishing a book, or mastering a skill, and feels trapped rather than motivated. The way is uncertain, and the trip is too lengthy. The task demanded too much. So instead of getting started, they pause, overthink, and wait. Not because they lack skill, but because they made the error of focusing on the mountain rather than the next step. The mind struggles with abstract objectives. It does not process. I want to achieve financial independence in the same manner it does. I need to save $10 today. It does not treat the phrase, I want to be in the best shape of my life, the same way. I'll do 20 minutes of workout right now. The brain is built to concentrate on immediate, concrete activities. What can we do now? Not vague, faraway goals. This is why so many individuals establish lofty objectives but fail to act. The goal is apparent, but the procedure is unclear. When the road is uncertain, procrastination takes hold. Marcus Aurelius realized that great things are made in pieces. He reminded himself not to dwell on the grandeur of a job, but rather on the smallest action accessible at the present. Do whatever is in front of you. He said that he did not let himself be overwhelmed by the weight of duty. Instead, he approached each day with a realistic perspective, knowing that any action, no matter how modest, was always achievable. Seneca observed that individuals often defeat themselves before they begin. They see a goal in its full shape, and feeling inadequate or incompetent, they pause. He felt that progress is accomplished not by waiting for confidence to emerge, but by starting and allowing confidence to follow. He emphasized that instead of concentrating on how much still needs to be done, one should concentrate on what can be done right now. Life passes us by while we wait for it. Taking action is the antidote for indecision. Epictetus had a different viewpoint. He thought that people who get overwhelmed by enormous ambitions do so because they are overly focused on the end result rather than the process. He realized that satisfaction lies not in reaching a final goal, but in the everyday discipline of work. When one stops thinking about when a huge objective will be finished and instead focuses on what can be done today, the weight of it fades away. He instructed his pupils to approach each work as if it were the only one, to focus only on what they could control, and to let the long-term outcomes take care of themselves. Modern psychology supports this traditional understanding. Long-term incentives pose a challenge for the brain, according to research. It favors the now above the significant. This is why the idea of tiny victories is so effective. Each single victory, no matter how modest, creates momentum by activating the brain's reward system and reinforcing progress. Success is more than just one moment of accomplishment. It represents the accumulation of everyday work. So how can you overcome the paralysis of enormous goals? Break them down. Instead of declaring, I have to write a book, say, I will write 300 words today. Concentrate on today's actions, not the final outcome. Thinking too far ahead causes worry. The only important step is the next one. Keep track of tiny triumphs. To feel progress, it must first be seen. Keep a note of each completed step, regardless of how minor. Marcus Aurelius taught himself to concentrate only on the work at hand. Seneca felt that action was the remedy for hesitancy, but Epictetus regarded discipline as the path to success. The lesson is plain. Big ambitions are only scary when regarded as a whole, yet every mountain must be scaled step by step. The problem is not whether you can do something amazing. It is if you can start and then again until what was impossible becomes unavoidable. The brain's time mistake. Why do you assume you have more time than you do? Time seems plenty until it isn't. The mind pulls a hazardous trick by telling you that there is always more of something. I'll start tomorrow. I'll have time later next week and will be more concentrated. As a result, critical plans are postponed. Work is postponed and life carries on while action remains in limbo. The brain produces the illusion that time is unlimited, but experience reveals otherwise. Deadlines come sooner than planned. Opportunities go by undetected. The seemingly distant future becomes the present, and time is no longer on your side. This error is strongly ingrained in human mind. The mind struggles to appropriately perceive the passage of time. It underestimates how fast the future enters the present, while overestimating how much can be accomplished later. This is why many individuals believe they can complete a project in an unreasonable period. Why do they assume they will be ready in the future, and why do they put off crucial tasks? Believing there will be a better time to start, yet time does not wait, and the longer one believes it is accessible, the more it is lost. Marcus Aurelius kept reminding himself that procrastination is a type of self-deception. He discovered that persons who believe they have boundless time waste the days they actually have. He wrote, "You could be good today, but you chose tomorrow." He saw that hesitancy did not safeguard opportunities. It erodes it. The only controllable time is now. To wait for a better time is to expect life to stop for you. It will not. Seneca was much more forthright, warning that people believe life is eternal when in fact the majority of it is spent. He saw that individuals dread losing money, property, or prestige, yet they waste time. The only resource that cannot be replaced. We are not granted a short life, rather we waste it. His philosophy was obvious. If something is vital, it must be completed immediately. If a goal is important, it must be pursued now. Assuming there will always be more time is a risk with the most limited resource of all. Epictetus saw time from a different perspective. He saw procrastination as more than just a loss of productivity. It was also a failure to live completely. He emphasized that every moment represents a chance to act, learn, and determine one's destiny. Delays not only squander time, but they also postpone life itself. He pushed his pupils to question themselves, "What is stopping me from acting right now?" rather than, "Am I ready?" He recognized that his reluctance was due to fear rather than bad timing. Fear of imperfection, pain, and failure, but life does not allow for doubt. Modern psychology supports this traditional understanding. According to studies, humans suffer from temporal discounting, a cognitive bias that causes the future to seem abstract and distant. This is why deadlines seem far away until they suddenly become important. This is why individuals believe they will have more discipline, drive, and time later on. However, when it finally comes, everything remains the same. Excuses remain. The approach is to treat every moment as if it is already urgent, rather than waiting for it to become so. So how can you break away from the illusion of time abundance? Set a shorter deadline. The brain reacts to urgency. Give yourself false restrictions. What might normally take months may frequently be completed in weeks when attacked with passion. Use the compressed time approach. Consider what you would do differently if you only had half the time to finish this task. This forces clarity and eliminates procrastination disguised as preparedness. Stop expecting that later will be easy. It will not. The future version of yourself will face the same diversions, uncertainties, and obstacles. The only way to affect outcomes is to take action now. Marcus Aurelius refused to wait for the appropriate opportunity to act. Procrastination, according to Seneca, is a kind of life-stealing, but Epictetus recognizes that indecision is a choice. The lesson is plain. There is no later, perfect present, or ideal future. The only time to act is now, and if you don't manage your time, time will control you. The power of the environment, how to eliminate procrastination causes. Many individuals believe that willpower is the key to productivity, that success is just a function of self-control and personal drive. But what if the true conflict is not inside your head, but in the world around you? The environment influences conduct more than willpower ever could. No matter how devoted a person is, he or she will struggle to concentrate when surrounded by distractions. Even the most tenacious work ethic will be overshadowed by an unorganized workstation. The fact is that procrastination is often a result of an unoptimized environment rather than a human failing. The mind is continuously responding to cues, which are minute messages in its environment that either push it toward action or draw it away from distraction. The simpler a distraction is to obtain, the more difficult it is to avoid. Marcus Aurelius recognized that attention needs conscious effort, not just internal discipline, but also outward modifications. He designed his life to minimize distractions, ensuring that his environment aided his abilities to think, reflect, and act. Seneca saw that humans often mistook desire with fate. He observed that although many people want success, tranquility, and pleasure, fewer are prepared to perform the difficult effort necessary to obtain those goals. Seneca believed that the cosmos rewards readiness rather than thinking. The law of attraction did not entail sitting back and waiting for destiny to deliver. It was about aligning thinking with purposeful effort, ensuring that attitude and action were moving in the same direction. Epictetus used a more practical approach. He taught us that although we have no control over external circumstances, how we react to them creates our reality. He realized that individuals who assume they can easily attract what they desire without effort are missing the point. The subconscious influences results, but it reacts to repetition, discipline, and conduct as well as positive thoughts. If you teach yourself to look for opportunities, you'll be more likely to see them. If you cultivate a development mentality, you will persevere while others fail. However, these findings are not distributed. They were earned. Modern psychology validates this. CBT and neuroscience. Studies reveal that although thoughts have an impact on perception, they only lead to change when accompanied with action. The reticular activating system, or errors in the brain, filters information depending on what we concentrate on, so if we prepare our brains for success, we will be more likely to perceive chances when they arise. Without work, these prospects are simply the possibilities, not realities. So how does the law of attraction really work? First, go from passive vision to active mental conditioning. Instead of fantasizing success, make actual strategies. If you see yourself accomplishing a goal, ask yourself, what steps can I take today to get closer to this reality? Second, make everyday routines consistent with intended goals. If you want to be a confident speaker, don't simply think about it. Every day, practice speaking, even if just briefly. Third, put conviction into action. The mind accepts what it has frequently experienced. Confidence, discipline, and achievement are more than simply thoughts. These are habits. Marcus Aurelius taught his mind not to anticipate consequences, but to plan for them. Seneca understood that attractiveness without action was meaningless. Epictetus thought that change occurs by participating in life, not waiting for things to happen properly. The law of attraction only works when combined with labor. The genuine formula is simple: concentrate, act, and repeat. The mind is powerful, but only when given a cause to be. The world may not deliver you success, but when you link thinking with action, you create the circumstances for success to find you the conscious-subconscious connection and use it to your advantage. The mind acts on two levels, conscious and subconscious. You actively think with your conscious mind. It's rational, analytical, and observant. It devises strategies, establishes objectives, and solves problems. But behind the surface, the subconscious mind is constantly forming your habits, emotions, and habitual responses. It is large, powerful, and profoundly influential, yet most people never actively connect with it. Those who can bridge the gap between these two levels of thought gain a significant edge. They become masters of their own brains rather than victims of past programming. One of the most remarkable qualities of the subconscious mind is its ability to provide insights even when you are not actively seeking them. This is why the finest ideas typically come to you when you're relaxing in the shower, going for a stroll, or right before falling asleep. When the conscious mind is too concentrated, it may become stiff and stifle innovative problem solving. However, when the mind is left to wander, the subconscious takes control and connects concepts in unforeseen ways. Thomas Edison, Salvador Dali, and even Marcus Aurelius recognized this and intentionally used times of calm to enable deeper ideas to arise. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the value of contemplation, profound thinking, and giving room for clarity to emerge organically. He realized that knowledge does not come from imposing concepts, but from allowing the mind to analyze, connect, and understand information. His nocturnal meditations engaged both the conscious and subconscious, ensuring that his mind was actively learning from the day rather than just reacting to it. Seneca believed that overloading the mind with unnecessary stress, diversions, or meaningless worries harmed its capacity to digest significant knowledge. He believed in mental minimalism, which included reducing extraneous noise to allow the mind to function properly. He warned that persons who continuously load their heads with minor diversions, such as gossip, excessive amusement, or unfiltered media, impair their capacity to think profoundly. To him, a keen mind is one that has the freedom to contemplate, observe, and combine ideas without continual interruption. Epictetus saw self-awareness as a link between the conscious and subconscious. He believed that individuals who act only on instinct are guided by unconscious habits. They never question. Those who teach themselves to notice their responses rather than just feeling them achieve greater self-mastery. To him, the subconscious does not determine destiny. It merely follows the conditioning it gets. If it is molded by fear and negativity, it will perpetuate those patterns. However, if taught with discipline and conscious aim, it may be transformed into an engine of development, resilience, and knowledge. Modern neuroscience verifies what the Stoics instinctively understood. The brain's default mode network DMN, which is active during rest, plays an important role in problem solving, creativity, and emotional regulation. According to research, taking a pause from active thinking, allowing ideas to settle, engaging in deep introspection, or practicing mindfulness results in breakthrough insights and clearer decision-making. The subconscious mind is constantly processing, but it requires certain circumstances to function well. So how can you take use of this connection? First, provide room for your mind to function. Moments of calm introspection and mental stillness enable the subconscious to arrange information and provide solutions. Second, feed your subconscious the correct substance. What you read, watch, and interact with on a daily basis becomes raw material. Make good decisions on your inner ideas. Third, practice active self-awareness. Question your instinctive emotions, observe patterns in your thinking, and be intentional about the ideas you perpetuate. Marcus Aurelius developed his intellect via introspection. Seneca used mental discipline to maintain clarity. Epictetus recognized that self-awareness is the path to subconscious mastery. Your mind is always functioning, molding the world you encounter. The true issue is whether you are employing this power intentionally or on autopilot. The option is always yours. The subconscious mind is not a passive background function. It is the quiet creator of your world. It absorbs everything. You expose it to reinforcing habits, forming beliefs, and directing choices long before you are aware of it. Those who fail to see this live on autopilot, responding to ideas they never selected and limited by habits they never challenged. However, individuals who master their subconscious get a significant edge. By actively interacting with your subconscious mind, you may direct it to create the world you want. By being deliberate and conscious of the power it has, you may alter your ideas, beliefs, and behaviors to align with your objectives and desires. This degree of self-awareness enables you to overcome restrictive ideas and actions, resulting in a more rewarding and purposeful existence.